Boss Up. I'm Nicole Jones, your host, and on this show we talk about how to start, grow, and sustain your business. Today I have something that you guys are going to want to pull out your pens and paper, pull out your phones and take notes. Anything that you can grab it right now because we're talking about funding your business. And today I have with me Mr. Tony Brevard. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Tony is the owner of 7A Funding Group.
Yes.
And I want you to speak more about the opportunities that we just don't know about, because I'm sure there's endless amounts of information when it comes to funding, not only your small business, but you support banks as well.
Correct.
And what that looks like. And what I think is important for this conversation is we hear this so often, like you can get a grant, you can get different loans, but sometimes we just need to rehear some of this information, just reiterate some of that information so it's refreshed, renewed, find out something new. The times are definitely changing where there's a lot more information. So if you could tell us a little bit more about your start in 7A Funding.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you for having me, first of all. This is a really nice platform, and I'm looking forward to being a part of Boss Up and telling what's going on. 7A Funding Group, it was an idea I had when I was working in the traditional banking community. I started in banking back in 1990, or the 1900s, as my son would tell me.
Oh my gosh.
So, I've been in financial services for, 32 years. And it's always been incumbent upon me to figure out how to help people leverage things that we don't normally know just growing up in our communities.
Correct.
I grew up in Camden, South Carolina, which is a population of 6,000, and it's a small farming / horse breeding community. And my parents were both educators, and my father did other things as well, was a school teacher and taught commercial food service and had a construction company, different things. But even watching that, the idea was always in me to build this company because I would see how he would win sometimes and how he got dismissed sometimes for no reason. And I think part of it was because we literally didn't know how to speak that language of financial services. So that being said, 7A Funding Group was built on the SBA side of things, Small Business Administration side of things, so that I could help as many people as I could who wanted to do more than just work for someone else. To me, it's not a bad thing, but when you work for someone else, you're actually building their dream. And not that you don't have your own dream. So if you have your own dream and it's realistic, then let's figure it out. And 7A Funding does some of that.
That's amazing. You've drawn that out just from witnessing that, even with your own family, and that has literally carried you through to where you are today, supporting hundreds, thousands of people, really across the globe, across the nation. So that's pretty fascinating. And I think where you're speaking from in terms of being able to set up your own shop, have your own funding, understanding that lingo, that business lingo, not only when it comes to setting up and defining your business, but from a financial standpoint, what do you need to be more aware of, more cognizant of in terms of what's happening around you, and you could be leaving money on the table. So that's all of our audience, as you know, bossing up in terms of small business owners, entrepreneurs, large business owners. So I think what you're speaking to is, the bread and butter, essentially, of why we're trying to continue as business owners in this space.
And the key for me in this whole thing is to first figure out who the audience is. And then once you figure out who the audience is, then figure out how do you bring the most to the table for them. In my thought process, my original audience came from the banks I wanted to serve. So I started with Carver State Bank down in Savannah, Georgia, as my first client as a bank. And Carver was going through a situation where they were not doing well on a federal platform as far as how banks are rated. And they weren't going to go out of business or anything, but they needed to get some things fixed. And there's a gentleman there, two gentlemen both named Robert James Sr. and Robert James
Wow.
Jr., who are both good Omega men, as I am. But I was putting some thoughts together on a business process and met with Robert Jr. And talked about what they needed as a bank. And we built a model with them where we brought them deals to get them some volume from the SBA world and leverage it so they could also, make money off selling guarantees, et cetera, that go with the operation side of banking. And at the end of the day, we grew them significantly in just 1 year's time. And it in fact gave us several other African-American owned banks. And at one time we're down to maybe 4 of them that we do a lot with now, but we had 8 of the last 20 African-American banks. There's only 20 left in the country.
Wow.
And so we had 40% of them. And we'll get those others back with the program we're doing right now. But certainly, I think actually we'll end up getting all of them with this new model that we're doing.
I love it.
Well, I mean, our job is to make not just the bank successful, but the people in those communities successful. And I feel like the way we work it is more of a bootstraps model, a boots to the ground model, I should say, rather. And I think that the people that have been served by it have liked it, have embraced it, speak a lot about us, and it's helped us grow to a size I didn't think we'd ever get to. And
wow.
It's a good thing,
That's a great thing.
Well, I mean, you
You're being modest, actually.
No, well, I mean, but I think that the reality is that if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your dreams.
That
tell
part.
him and what he thinks about is way bigger than what you've ever thought about.
Yeah.
But I've learned to embrace those things and appreciate them and bring people with us to build the model out. The main thing with our company is we don't have any employees. We have teammates.
Okay, I like that.
Nobody works for me. I've never had an employee my entire life. If you ask anybody in our team, they'll say they work with me. No one has ever worked for me.
I love that.
And I think as long as you understand that people bring things to the table, whether it is answering the phone or whether it is doing some complicated Wall Street transaction, we all have to play a part in the game. And so it's a we thing, and as the company grows, we all benefit from the success of it.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
And how large is your team?
Our in-house team is 6.
Small but mighty.
We're small but mighty. We have several outsourced groups. So on our loan servicing side, there's a company called Lord, I just had a blank.
They know your heart. They know your heart.
Yeah, but they do our loan servicing.
Okay.
It's called Radar Lender Services.
Got you.
There you go.
Got you.
So I'm looking at Ray Camilleri is the guy. Hey, Ray. And I kept seeing Ray. But what we do is if we know that there's something that needs to be done repeatedly and done at a high level versus us trying to hire the people in our shop, I will just go and hire your team.
I got you.
And we just partner up. Yes.
Yep.
So, and Radar is large too, and we have other groups that are the same. So if you look at us like that, it's probably 75 people. But
wow.
But 6 of them are in our shop.
Core team.
Yeah.
The core team.
The core
and then
team
you
is
have
6.
The interconnected team.
And most of us are in Atlanta, and our wonderful administrator, Nicole, is in the Philippines.
Okay.
So, hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
With my namesake.
Yeah. and she's amazing. My daughter is actually the director of operations.
Okay, awesome.
It's Brittany May, and she is amazing, if I must say so myself. but so we built a nice little group around that. But those 2 people are very instrumental in what we do.
What I like about what you shared with me earlier on, you talked about seeing just different instances when you were with your father of the business aspect, the funding aspect, and just being introduced in that way. And some little seed was planted into you at that very moment. Then you spoke about the senior and the junior that you just mentioned, and them also trying to build up in a family network.
Yes.
And so now you just express just how your network, your core team includes even your daughter.
Yes.
So she saw something that you implanted in her in terms of little seed. And so that community, that building, that network, that net worth continues to grow based on everything you just shared.
And I agree with that. And I think that family is those who are truly in your bloodline, but also people that become a part of your world. And so with us, all of our clients become our family too, because you have to remember, well, you may not know this, but remember, you'll know this now. If you do business acquisitions, that's a 10-year loan, typically. And so if I'm going to do something with you, you're my family for at least a decade. So I have to make sure that I'm not just doing a deal to do a deal. We never do a deal just to make money. We do a deal because it's the right thing to do, but also because I know that what I'm giving you is going to be something you'll be pleased with, because I need to see you over these next 10 years. And I don't want you punching me in my face when I see you, or me having to turn the corner because I did something terrible. We do everything in excellence, and we do everything because we, at that moment, think it's the right thing to do. It doesn't always work out that way because we do so much business that there's, every now and then there's one that doesn't work out quite right. But it's not because we went into it scheming for it to be wrong.
I got you.
But all those people become family. So yes, the core of my mother and father, runs very, very deep in me. And my dad used to always tell me, he passed away last year, but it's,
he's still here.
Yeah, he's still here. He's cool. And he's got the best seat in the house.
Yes.
But he used to always tell me, don't mess up my name. Protect the brand. and your handshake's all you got. And I literally, especially in this day and time where things move so fast and everything is so online and so different, I'm very big on the handshake or the hug, and me looking in your eye to tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And if I look at you and tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think that that's important. And people, the good part is I've done it for so long, people know who we are now. They know that. Yeah. And we stay that way because we don't do it wrong.
Yeah.
And that's important.
I love that.
Is love transactional?
What is it? It's so good when you loving somebody and somebody loves you back. You want that and somebody loves you back part.
What is love?
I feel like we just opened up the miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Well, look, you might not be popular, but my favorite character is Celestial because
one of the quotes that I wrote down in the book that kind of stood out to me was, "Love is the enemy of sound judgment."
She seemed like a very needy woman. And I can't even respect Andre because how do you prey on your friend's wife while he's incarcerated? Like, I just can't get with that. And maybe I got too invested in the book, That's the point.
I love that. If you guys aren't sold already on reaching out to 7A Funding Group, it feels like I feel like I'm part of the community now. Like I feel like I just get a warm hug to say, "Hey, come on in, girl.
That's what we want. We want people to feel that. What I do want to tell you that will make you want to be a part of the family.
Yeah.
And what I want to tell the people at home that just a smidgen of how this thing works, and what makes us who we are.
Yep.
We talked about how we did this for Carver and these other banks, and now we have about 150 banks that we do this for. So we're like the outsourced source for banks. What we leveraged was the access I had to those bankers, along with the access I had to different franchisors and business brokers that I, through some other banking stuff that would take too long to talk about on this, but I ran African-American banking for Bank of America.
Nice.
Business development for them in the mid-90s.
Yes.
And met all these people from Earl Graves to whoever, John Johnson, all these icons that we met up close and personal, who taught me so much, but introduced me to different people who are now running these major brands 20 years later. And I leveraged those relationships. What that means, though, is I now feel like I have enough funding sources and enough brands that if someone is in that audience is going, I drive by this Dairy Queen every day and I wonder why can't I have one? You can. And it's a lot easier than you think. And I think that's the kind of conversation I want people to call us about. Well, let's take that example. Let's say, I don't want to use a brand on here. Let's say we're going to get a business.
Yes.
Any business. And it's, pick a number, $300,000. But the business does really well and it's going to earn you, $80,000 a year or whatever. So it's great business. A lot of people go, $300,000, how do I get it? What do I do? The reality is, with the SBA, I'm what they call a habitual line stepper.
Okay, you got to explain that one. What's this?
In a good way. What that means is that I am an expert in their policy.
Okay.
And so what I do in that is I find out the best way to help a buyer to acquire a business or whatever at the least amount out of their pocket.
I got you.
But also to help them where they have the right amount of what I call working capital. So, or, I give you money in the loan to help you so you can hire people, so you can market, so you can, run the business, not just own the business. And with the SBA, I always try to make sure I take it to that tiniest degree.
I got you.
So in that example of the $300,000 thing, let's say I do that, and let's say I give you another $100,000 so you can make sure this thing runs well for the next year or two.
Operational
so we're at
costs.
$400,000, right? And then we have some closing costs, and the SBA has this thing called a guarantee fee because the SBA pays for part of the loan if it goes bad. In round, let's just say there's $25,000 of stuff, okay? So in that example, $300,000 plus $100,000 plus 25, so $425. The SBA, as a rule, asks for 10% cash from the buyer to buy a business.
Okay.
But that actually can come two different ways. So what most people hear is $42,500 in that example. The reality is we're really good at helping buyers bring half of that to the table. And we make the seller become a part of the deal, and the seller holds what basically is an IOU from the buyer. So now you can go buy this $300,000 business, get the working capital to go with it, and you bring me $21,000
ish.
So
wow.
And that $21,000, it can't be borrowed, but you can always get a gift. So let's say your grandmother or one of your family members wants to help you, they can gift you the down payment. So now you see where you can take this thing, and if you have like my son, for example, is going to college now. He's about to go to college in California. He loves insurance because I do so much Allstate.
Yeah.
In that example, he is going to go to school. One of my fraternity brothers owns an insurance agency in California that he'll work at in the summertime.
Yep.
He'll do that for the next couple of years. His junior year, we'll find him an insurance agency to buy while he's in college.
Wow.
We'll gift him the 10, 12, 15, whatever that number is. And whatever is the comfort zone for a person is what you back into.
Yeah.
So, if someone says, all I got is $5, okay, fine. I can still find you something for $100,000. There's always something that you can start with and build from. So in that example, we'd buy him that, while he's in school.
Mm-hmm.
So his senior year in college, he'll actually be making money while he's sitting at his desk.
Wow.
And that's the kind of stuff that we want to teach all of our kids, parents, et cetera, to dream different. You know, I don't want you to just dream about going to find a job.
Yeah.
Because it's not, find a job isn't for everybody. So some people know they want to be entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that, then go figure it out. And you can do that before, you know, I don't know if it was how it was with you on campus, but when I went to school, the first thing that met us on campus was Capital One people trying to give you a credit card.
Yes. Same.
And then they screw up your credit. You don't know what's happening. Next thing you know, your credit's messed up and you hadn't even got out of college.
Don't even know where it went.
So part of what we'll do with you along the way in different shows, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
How to not do that.
Yeah.
And how to figure out how to find a business along the way. So you can take, if you did do that, your business pays for it.
Yep.
Not mom and dad or student loans.
That makes so much more sense.
And you come out of school already making money.
In the positive.
Right.
Yep.
And no debt.
Yep.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
No student loan debt. And so that's the example of what SBA does. I rambled, but
no, that's a great example.
Yes.
That's a great example because I'm pretty sure there are a number of people out there who are basically saying, hey, I want to start a business. I want to have a franchise. I want to have something
And how
set
do I do
up.
this thing?
How do I do this? This is a big number. I don't have it. I don't think anybody in my family has it.
Right.
It's just not possible for me, is what the answer is.
And the reality is they'd be incorrect. They may be correct about a certain thing that they're looking at, but that conversation can help us figure out what does fit you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're tied in with several franchisors around the country. We're tied in with several business brokers. So you don't have to buy a franchise. I mean, you know, honestly, some of the easiest things to do would be to go to a business broker site like Sunbelt or Transworld or any of those websites.
Yeah.
Just plug in the numbers you want to play with. Say, I want to find a business for $200,000 in Georgia, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll pop up and it'll be an edible arrangements or whatever, or Joe's Lawn Care, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're buying something that already has cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So you know exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. That's what I want you to call me to talk about.
Do you guys also assist with resources? Let's say they pick up one of those Joe's Lawn Service or what have you. They get the funding by way of you guys, but when it comes to maybe the operational piece, the HR piece, do you guys support them in that way?
We do.
Wow. Can you speak more about that?
Well, we have different partnerships. We have partnerships with folks who are on the HR side. We have with CPA firms to help with payroll and accounting.
Wow.
We have gosh, what else do we have? Payroll services, retirement plans, credit repair. Because sometimes people come to you and they're, you know, a lot of times SBA, we require 640 to 670 on a credit score side.
Okay.
And a lot of times people may come in and they had the bad experience with Capital One and they got a 550 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you can't do a deal. You can't do it today.
Okay.
But we have people that help you with credit repair, not the fly-by-night credit repair stuff that you see on TV.
We don't want that.
Like, we do stuff that's really credit education.
Okay.
So it may take you a year to figure it out, but when that year's done, your credit is in tip-top shape and you're ready to go and you won't make the same mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so all those things are part of our world. So when people come to us, sometimes you come to me and you know it's not a fit right now. Just let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And let's figure out what you think you want to do. Let's do a soft credit pull and get an idea of what you look like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at your cash reserves and look at where your money's coming from. Give you some targets.
Yep.
I mean, I have those conversations with people all the time.
That's amazing.
And because my goal is again to make you a good person and make you reach your dream.
Yes.
So whether you end up doing that with our firm or not, I know I'd left you better than when we started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
One of Dr. Gino's strengths in his preaching to me is his ability to situate the listener.
Transition is hard. In fact, I dare say that it's one of the most difficult things to do. And I mean, in a real sense, it is so hard that in one it produces fear.
You pick an image that we all can relate to. What do you love most about your practice of African-American preaching? Go.
My practice of African-American preaching is steeped in Zora Neale Hurston's Negro expression. When we sing a song, it's sung a lot differently. When we do a dance, it's done a lot differently. When we preach a sermon, it's done a lot differently because we take it through our struggle and we adorn it and beautify it. And we've had to dare to find God and mine hope so that we might be able to know that the trouble that we go through doesn't last always.
The big word that I took from what you just said is the education.
Yes.
Not just information,
Yes.
credit card information, and Google this.
Yes.
Education is the piece that we're missing, and we see quite often in our communities.
True.
So.
And that's a big piece for us, and we're doing some different things. Like I said, when we're offline, Citibank has a thing they're doing with some banks that we're trying to help them with as far as pre-screening and structuring some things for the banks inside that system to do deals for existing clients.
Nice.
We're in conversations with some of our folks from SBA and some HBCUs
Nice.
to help bridge that gap and talk more about the things I just talked about as far as how to do a business early or acquire a brand, whatever. So our fingers are in all these different holes in the system, but we don't get so far away from what we do that it confuses people. So
no, everything that you're explaining to me makes absolute sense.
It all comes back together. There's when I went to grad school, there was a thing I learned about that's called blue ocean strategy. And what that means is when the way we think in our group, we think in a way that if you look at the ocean, follow me, look at the ocean, and you were in a part of the ocean where there are a bunch of fish fighting. There's blood in the water. That's the red ocean. And what happens on that side is where you have everyone over there is already doing the same thing. So they're fighting for the same stuff.
Yep.
The blue ocean strategy says, yeah, y'all fight over there. Let's make this, whatever you're fighting over, I'm gonna make it even better, but I'm gonna put it over here so you can take care of it and not worry about getting eaten alive. So it's a blue ocean. Everything we do is a blue ocean strategy. And by that, we turn around and we look at things that are being done. We don't necessarily make anything, we make things better. We're like, there used to be a company called BASF back in the day. And that's what they did. So we're a mini version of BASF. We don't make anything.
Yeah.
We make a lot of things really better.
Yeah. And you are connecting those dots across the community. And I can easily see.
And we put all them in the blue ocean so they can swim safely.
Yes.
And they all eat.
Yes.
And everybody's happy. And that's
what also is really key about what you just mentioned is a lot of people think when starting a business, the water is saturated. And so that's kind of speaking to what you just mentioned as well. Like there's opportunity for you if you look at it this way and have the vision versus the
And I think that's
form.
where we have to help people get comfortable, because a part of the entrepreneurial world, of the SBA, the finance world, is having that comfort zone that you're going to be able to keep making money in whatever it is you buy or whatever it is you start. And, we're very big on making sure that if you're buying a franchise, that it's a franchise that's reputable, that understands how to place you in the right part of the community to at least have the chance to do it right. And so at the end of the day, we want to make sure that people understand that our job in the company is not just to give you the money, but also to be able to tell you that it's going to be okay.
Yes, yes.
And if you're more concerned about those kind of costs, then let's get you with a Sunbelt or a Transworld or one of those business brokers, and let's find a business that's been around for a long time where, the matriarch or patriarch is retiring because they've done it for 20 years,
Yep.
but
So
the
now they're
community
ready to
knows
pass
them.
it on.
Yeah, but it's still going to make you that $200,000 a year, whatever it is you need to make, and let's do it.
Especially if they're already a reputable company.
Right. And a lot of times you can keep the employees.
Yeah, yes.
And stay out of the way.
Yep, and you just keep it moving.
So.
Yeah, you guys, in terms of 7A Funding Group, you guys are definitely picking up in those holes, like you mentioned, the gaps and the wealth gaps and so forth. And I as you're continuously talking, I'm thinking, man, this is exactly what people are asking for, because they're saying, hey, I want someone to help me, but I want someone that I can trust, that knows my pains, that knows my woes, that gets me, that can talk with, and they understand like the family dynamic in terms of like the Black community. And it sounds like you guys really put your arms around the entire process, really from end to end, like from the beginning. Like if you have the concept and the idea, we can support you all the way to acquisition, where you're sticking around, where you have the mindset, well, 10 years later, I'm going to sell this company.
Exactly. It's like,
and bring in generational wealth.
If it's for dinner, it's from soup to nuts.
Yes.
Like we did a whole deal.
Yes.
And that's what you need, because I want you to feel like, it's a face you can trust, it's experience you can trust. I've got 1,000 people that can tell you that we did it right.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have to go to all the grad schools and all the travel I do to figure it out. Let me just tell you. That's our job.
Any other final tips or points? You've gave a lot of great gems. I think something new that I learned was the acquisition piece that requires 10 years of that relationship. I didn't know that part. Any other tips that you want to share? Just maybe some 3 tips that people should consider in this funding space.
Be realistic in what you think you want to do. It needs to be something that's fun, not just something that makes money.
Yes.
All money is not good money. So think about something that has what I call a transferable skill. If it's something that you already have experience in and you like that industry, go with that. Be realistic about how much money you think you can get for the down payment. And be realistic about what your credit looks like and what we need to do to fix it. And never be ashamed to fix it, because if you don't, it's always going to be bad.
Yeah.
And we have no people look at people crazy to say, how you get that score? Let's fix it. So, and I think those are 3 good things to think about.
I think that those are all real, realistic.
But they can definitely reach out to us. And if they reach out to us on the website, we'll...
Can you share the link to that?
The link is www.7, the number 7, A like Apple, funding, funding.com. www.7afunding.com. Once you get on there, there are several things you can choose from. And just when you click, it'll help you get to us.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. This has been a wealth of knowledge. In a literal and figurative sense.
And also, wait, real quick, Instagram, follow me.
Yes.
At Tony Brevard, TonyBrevard, at Tony Brevard.
Awesome. You guys might see in parentheses the money glue.
I am money glue.
I'm going to be money glue. How come I didn't coin that phrase?
You can be, we'll make a name for you for the next show.
Okay.
It'll have some with money glue in it.
Let's do it. Well, Tony, thank you so much. I really hope you guys at home got information that you needed in terms of just finding funding, understanding that end-to-end process. Like it in theory and in concept sounds hard. It sounds like it could be challenging, and it sounds like you might not even have the opportunity when it comes to the dollar figures.
Right.
But you have someone that you can trust with 7A Funding, the group with Tony and his small but mighty team. So you guys check them out and stick with us for the rest of the season for more amazing episodes.